The weather in Myoko has started to change and we're about to go into our new winter season in 2024. This is my second season living in Myoko in my house. And this time I'm going to start earlier as I prepare my house for winter. We've had a long summer and even now people are out enjoying the colors of the autumn leaves, but that will change pretty rapidly here in this area. There's an expectation we will have a big snow year, but we'll see how things play out. I just know that I want to be prepared for this season. Kind of scared, not gonna lie. In this video, I'm going to talk about the experience I had last year, lessons that I've learned, and any changes and updates I've made to the house to prepare for my second winter in snow country, Japan. Enjoy the video.
Happy travels!
Thank you to those who bought me a coffee this week. Really appreciate it. I love coffee and I'm actually using some of that money when I can to put towards better filming equipment, more editing stuff. I want to make the best production that I can. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Arigato. I have a super special announcement this week. I'm dropping a map on Rexby, the ultimate travel guide to Japan, including adventure travel. Some of you guys know that I've been exploring Japan for over 15 years, and I've been to all 47 prefectures multiple times. Now I'm sharing the best of the best. I'm also considering putting together a map of where to buy property in Japan, my favorite locations. If you want to see this, comment below and let me know that you're interested. Thank you. Like the first video I made, I'm going to start with the outside of the house. And if you haven't seen that one, it's probably best to start there because I won't cover the same details in this video. So go check that out. Come back to this video and I'm going to run through what I learned and any of the changes that I made. Let's start. One thing you'll notice straight away, a big change, is that I took away all of the trees that I had here. These were beautiful trees and I really liked having them. But I found in winter it came with some challenges. When the snow falls off the roof of my house from up here, it falls down here to my backyard. The problem I was having during the winter was that this road is completely cleared. So this road here, you see, this is cleared by the government, which is really awesome and helpful. What wasn't helpful was having these trees in the way, having my snow piling up higher and higher. I was getting too much accumulated snow and it was impossible for me to go through those trees and push it out for the government to remove that. And when they remove that, they take that snow and they put that into piles around the town. That pile of snow for me is right here behind me. So they would take that snow from the street and anything that the neighbors, the people that live here, want to get rid of, that can be the snow from their roof, and they put it down. They put it on the street at a certain time when we get a certain amount of snow. It's up to us to move that onto the street for the government to push that into the snow piles over to here. And we have another snow pile right here behind me. When I talk about putting snow on the streets, you're not allowed to do that anytime you want. That's of course dangerous. It will cause problems with traffic and people couldn't drive safely down the streets. It's usually a specific time when the roads are being cleared. You can hear these kind of, you can see behind me, this kind of tractor will drive around and remove the snow. You hear it coming, the ground shakes, and you know that you've got to get out there and start pushing whatever snow that you've kept on your property, not put on the streets, and it's time to put that out in front and work with those guys who are removing the snow from the roads. Speaking of snow clearing on the streets by this big machinery, this was completely new for me. And the first time it happened was super funny. What happens is when the snow accumulates or when there's so much snow, this machinery and equipment will go out and clear the roads. I remember when this happened, I heard them coming through and it was insane. My whole house was shaking because they do have these blades like on this one right here. It just scrapes along the ground and it really makes the road bare of snow. They do an incredible job of keeping that clear. And you feel that in your house. It's like, I mean, it was shaking the house. Through the house, you can feel the window shake and it goes all the way into my bed. It's like a massage chair, a massage bed. So I really was surprised and shocked when that happened the first time. With that experience came something else that was new, which was, when I got up and looked out the window to see what's going on out there, I could see my neighbors clearing the streets too. And this was, I'm talking about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. I look out the windows and I see my neighbors down the street pushing their snow out onto the street and preparing that for putting that in the way of these snow clearing machines for them to take them down to the snow piles. So with that snow that you've been piling up, and it's now, it's getting pretty high out the front of your house, out the back of your house, wherever it is, it's now time to push that out onto the street and clear that to avoid it accumulating. And there were a few times where it was 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and man, you look outside, it is cold. It's -10, -15 degrees Celsius. I don't want to get out of my bed. I'm already out there, looking out the window, seeing my neighbor, and I'm like, oh man, this guy, he is dedicated. This dude is like, he's up at 3 o'clock in the morning. All of them, they're all working their machines or working on shovels to push their snow out to avoid this accumulation. You've got to work with that. So you've got to get out of bed 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, push your snow out, and avoid that accumulating snow at your house. It can be challenging at that time in the morning. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, it's actually like 2:30, and I'm out here clearing up snow, working with these trucks and the tractors that are moving the snow off of the streets. I was actually inspired by one of my neighbors who I looked out the window because these tractors are loud, and I saw him out here moving all of his snow. So he's got like a super clear garage space here, and he's pushed it all out. So I came down trying to do the same thing. You can see down the street here, there's about 50 centimeters of snow. We had like 40 centimeters probably. And yeah, it's definitely wind blown to make it even higher. You can see it on my roof. I actually cleared this roof about 2 hours ago, the lower roof, and it's back again. But it's super fun. I really actually enjoyed it. And seeing my neighbors out there, we're all just like smiling, having fun, having a good time, digging around in the snow. That was a fun lesson that I learned. Working with the community, working with the local government to remove this snow, because no one can do it just by themselves. Speaking of the snow, how much did I get and what was I dealing with? Well, this is where all my snow lands. It falls off of the roof here and lands into this space here. I think thanks to the trees that were here, and no thanks to those trees, it was impossible for me to push this out onto the road for the snow clearing machines to push that into the snow piles. My snow was accumulating to roughly under this window, and I was removing the snow as best as I could on days when it was not snowing, and I'm expecting it to be a bit higher this year if I wasn't to pull away that snow. A big change that I've made is putting in a space for my car, and this is going to be another challenge this year too. We'll need to remove this snow and push it out onto the road here. This will probably take me an hour to clear on a big snow day as I just pull this out and put it onto the snow pile. As you can probably connect the dots, you're wondering, what about the snow that falls off the roof? Is it going to damage your car? And the answer is most likely not. I couldn't say it's definitely not going to happen, but most likely not. So last season, I had to clear this snow manually. It never fell off by itself. It's quite a flat roof, and I was able to control that fall. It's part of the reason these roofs are built this way, so there's no damage, people don't get injured, and you can control how much snow is falling off the roof when you want it to fall off the roof. There are pros and cons to having these flat roofs with this kind of snow. I had to clear the snow on my roof just two main times, and it was a full clear. I did that by myself. I harnessed myself in, and that was a huge learning experience for me. The roof was super slippery. It was really dangerous. And I just I have some points on my roof that I can clip into, and I clip into that with this full body harness to give me some level of safety, but it is still extremely dangerous. I got advice from my neighbors, the building company next door. They're actually looking out for me a lot during winter. They know that I've never dealt with this kind of snow living in a snow country like this, in a snow area. So they pointed out to me and said, hey, it's going to rain tomorrow. You should really clear your roof today, because tomorrow that rain, that water will be absorbed into the snow, and you're going to have tons and tons of weight on your roof. Get rid of it today. We highly recommend it. And I'm super grateful for my neighbors continually give me solid advice about how to live in this area. And specific to snow, it's very helpful for me. Down the backside of my house in this little courtyard behind that driveway area is probably the most challenging part of pulling out the snow. It's the furthest away. It's not that bad when I look at other properties, but I still need to maintain some kind of pathway here. And the reason being is this is where my sewage system is, down the back here, where you can see this manhole cover. I need to have access to that for when people come in and take away my sewage that gets pumped out. It's super common. It's probably the most common method of handling sewage in this part of town. Saying that, I've already had this sewage pumped. That's another winter preparation for me. I've got this company to come through and pump the sewage out, so I probably will not need to pump that again until most likely after winter or early spring. So it should be fine. One of the other things I did not do last year was this window here. I should have put a cover over this. This year I'll be putting a cover over this window, and most likely these windows too. I'm not using that one on the right. That's my laundry window, and that's the toilet window on the left. I will probably put a perspex sheet over this, which has some element of insulation, and that'll cover that and protect it mostly from snow. So snow did come through this window last year. My shed had no problems at all. The roof is a pretty good pitch. It does accumulate snow, and that falls down the back of the garden over there, together with it also accumulates a little bit on my neighbor's property, who has no problem with that. We kind of just work together to deal with our snow, as good neighbors do. This here is my gas hot water system on the left, and that's the city gas coming into my house on the right side. You might be wondering, is that high enough? Is that going to be a problem? Is that going to cause issues with this accumulating snow? I worked with my plumber, who lives 2 streets away and has grown up here his entire life, spent his whole life living in this area, to get advice and choose this position based on his suggestions. When snow accumulates down the side here, it is almost entirely removed by the government. They probably get right up to here with the removal. So they get right up to my window there, which means I have no problems at all with accumulating snow. I just keep an eye on that as I walk around the house almost daily. I'm always coming outside, and if I need to pull any snow away from the house, I can just do that. And I do that because I just prefer to keep as much snow away from the house as possible. I'll give you a break here, and you can see the colors quickly changing, rapidly changing around here for the fall leaves. For the front of my house, I had no issues at all. Snow clearing machines will clear almost right up to my door. So I'll just have this much space that I'll have to clear by myself. It's actually a great setup. I'm glad that I live on the corner of a busy street. This is a street that has a hospital, it has a post office, it has an ATM, a pharmacy, different businesses. This is one of the main streets in town. It might be the main street in town. It's still a quiet street, but it does get carefully taken care of for any snow removal during the winter. There's some things I haven't done yet. I haven't prepared for winter. I'm in the middle of doing this right now, but I'll be taking down, for example, this down pipe. I'll call it a down pipe. It's not, it's the Japanese style down pipe that comes down when I start to get ready for winter, which is now. Up the top here, I've put covers over the aircon. I'll improve that at some point, but for now, just this plastic cover, that's gonna do the job for me. I need to source the correct cover for that. One is to blend it in to the design, but secondly, it's to protect it from the snow. The snow does fall off of the roof and accumulates on top of the aircon. I just occasionally reach out. I mean, I just walk past my house all the time. I'm always out here, and I can see if it's piling up. I reach out and just brush it off and dust it off to avoid accumulating snow. This spot back here was a bit of a trap for snow. I could shovel this out and I could put these doors across, these shutters. These are for typhoons and any other kind of crazy weather. But as you can see how that kind of comes to a point and narrow, it's difficult to dig the snow out there. I think if I was designing this place in hindsight, if it was me, I would not have put this garden space in the front here, just because it's very difficult to remove the snow when there's any objects, any trees, anything that gets in the way. This is that massive fire hydrant that I talked about in my previous video, in the first winterization video. If you want to go back and hear what I have to say about that, I'd say around where my head height was where the snow level got to at the front of the house in this particular area. The side of the house right behind me that you can see, I thought that that would be a big problem, but it turned out that it was no snow issue really at all. The snow still accumulated, but any of the snow that was coming off of the roof was either going forwards onto the road or backwards into my yard. So the side where I thought there'd be a big problem ended up being fine and easy to manage. These pot plants, anything out the front, anything that is on the ground will be going into the shed. It cannot, or into the house, it cannot be here. I need to use a shovel to clear this area often during the winter. Small little feature under the downpipe. Those little rocks will need to go somewhere. Also last year I forgot, I didn't put any cover on the ventilation holes under the house. This year I'll be covering them up for both internally and externally to avoid cold drafts coming into the house from underneath the floor. And that goes for under the floor space here too. So the cold air can go straight up there, but I've put, in the other video you've probably seen, I've put insulation under the floor of the house on the first floor. I'll put insulation on this old makeshift door, and again, I'll seal this up for winter. So last year I didn't cover any of those ventilation holes. I didn't think carefully about that house, that access panel. I was really getting cold drafts coming through the house and then up under the floor and really cooling that area. It was a mistake that I made. This year I'm not making that same mistake. I'll be covering those and insulating the house as best that I can to avoid any drafts and any cold air coming in from any direction. I also installed that cover up here. So this cover for the bathroom, the exhaust fan. Just a reminder to those watching, I'm doing this with an economical approach. I'm trying to figure out what I really need, don't over-engineer things, learn from experience and make changes based on necessity. So far it's worked out well, I haven't been uncomfortable, and things have gone great. Just keep that in mind as I go through this video. It's not all about making this a bulletproof house for me, it's making it a house that works for this area, for my financial situation, and for what I actually need over what would be nice. In case you were wondering, what is my snow clearing equipment? And this is it. So I have this bad boy over here, this red one on the left, and this is probably my favorite one. It's just lightweight and it really takes a lot of the snow away. I've got this metal one that just scrapes nice and low across the ground. I mean, this one's burning out, so I might have to replace this soon. This smaller one is great for when I have to make a channel on the roof when I climb on the roof for me to walk up. This one just helps me make a pathway. And then there's this big guy here that does majority of the work in just clearing all of that snow. And with all of these combined, this is all I needed, and I was very comfortable with clearing the snow from my property. A lot of people thought previously, Matt, you're going to need a big snowblower machine to clear all of the snow away. I did not need that. I live right on the corner of these two intersecting roads. The worst part of clearing snow for me, especially this year, is going to be behind me, my car space. It's still not too bad, and if I get sick of it, if I don't want to do it, there are options for me to rent a space and use that for just everyday life. I rent a car space that's undercover. There's quite a few of them around town, pretty cheap and very convenient. If I look at my neighbor's property down here on the left, so this road running up here to the house there over the back, this one, they have to clear all of this road themselves. So this road here is a private road. They've got to clear all of that. They need to use a snowblower. And then, like I said before, when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, these guys are always out here at that time, blowing as much snow as they can over to this road that I'm standing on for the snow clearing machines to take that. And they pile that up in one of the snow areas in the fields. Now for the inside. One of the important changes that I've made to the inside is this. I put this door here to seal off the front of the house, the genkan. This is where the cold air comes in, and this is where the coldest part of the house really is for different reasons. You're opening the door and all of that cold air is gushing in. That's still going to happen. This will play as a blocking element to that cold air rushing into the rest of the house. A big change that I haven't made yet, but it's on the cards, is the front door. This is an old style front door. There is no insulation at all in this door, and I need to change this. I already have quotations to change this door. It's about $3,000 US to change this over. I don't have the funds for this yet, but I'd love to. That's going to be the next most important part of insulating my house. So one of the elements that really helped last year was having those sliding shoji doors with the washi paper. It made a huge difference having them, and I'm going to hold off putting them in until I really have to. I do want to test out how this door, I mean, there's no insulation to it really, but how this door is going to hold up and how the other insulation elements that I've put into the house are going to hold up without putting in the sliding shoji doors. These are the sliding shoji doors. I haven't put them back yet. I'm hoping that I have a choice whether to use them or to not use them. I have insulated part of the house, and you'll see that in one of my other videos where I insulated the roof space and under the first floor. That's something, if you want to look into that, you can check out the video. I'll put the tag here somewhere so you can see that. Otherwise, I'll talk about some of the other insulating factors I've done to the house. The most important one, the other one, are the windows. I've put in a second layer of windows. Okay, so I've taken off my jacket because it is actually warm in here. It's much warmer than outside, and I haven't used any heating. The house is just heated naturally throughout the day using the sunshine, and it's a good sign that the elements that I've changed are working. A big change will be these windows. So these windows are double glazed windows with low E rating, and they're very smooth. These just sit inside internally to the other window. There was actually a subsidy on new glazing. You can actually see the light difference there when I pull that across. And I'll talk about that in a second, but there was a subsidy for these windows. I got almost the whole house. You could say I got a new window, internal window for every window in the house. And it was about a 60 to 70% discount. The total cost was around 1 million yen for all of the windows, but I got the price for around 300,000, a little bit more, 400,000 yen. So about 60% discount on this glazing. Are they making a difference? Straight away, yes. And while I can feel the warmth factor difference, like I said, like I'm actually warm in my house now, the other most noticeable point is the sound. So when I sit here with this window open, I can hear the wind through this window, through the old glazing. I can hear when a car passes by. I can just hear a background sound, which actually is quite nice. But when I close the window, without even locking that window, so even now, it's completely quiet. It's changed everything. Like everything is very different. I'm very happy with the decision to install these windows. And it should make a big difference. That coupled with the other insulation that I did in the roof and in the floor, I'm expecting this to have a big impact. One of the things, I mentioned the light before, so you can see right now, maybe you can tell, I'm not sure, because the cameras just adjust. But right now, there's a slight tint in this room because of the window. When I open it, it's like the ultra white that's coming outside. I think you should be able to notice that. In the early sunshine in the morning, if I have this window closed, which lately I have, so if that's closed right up, it actually blocks the heat as well. So the point is for these to work during the summer, the hot summer, and to somewhat reflect that UV heat and keep the house cooler in summer. But on the contrary, for winter, it also keeps the house colder. If I open this window on a hot morning when the hot sun's coming in, and I just put my hand either side of the glazing of the new glass, there's a huge difference, a big impact of this side that doesn't have this new glazed window is really warm. And then this side behind the new glazing, it's extremely cool. I think it's something I'll have to, during the hot mornings in summer, to get free, in winter, to get kind of free heating. I'll just pull back these windows a bit and just get that hot sun in the morning and then just pull them across, because I feel like it's something I want to still capture, that warm winter sun. In saying that, even though I have these windows in place, now that it holds in the heat, I should be able to, in theory, have the heating on for a short time and to switch it off, and for these windows to play a big role into keeping this room warmer with the other insulation in the roof and the floor space. Very happy with this choice. Nice and smooth, nice and quiet, and you can just see that is double glazing right there. While there's no obvious air gaps in the old windows, I can definitely hear the outside world easier by having this window open. It's completely silent while this new window is closed. And I'm just going to show you the view, because we have a beautiful, it's now 3:15 p.m. and the skies are pretty on this autumn day. Love my beautiful neighborhood. I got this glazing all around the house, and it was definitely worth it. To do the whole house for the guys that came to install it, it took less than 6 hours. 4 hours, 6 hours for two guys. They came in and put in around 16 windows. Something else I'm doing this year is taking out some of the fly screens to maximize my view. They don't really do anything. They didn't serve a purpose during the winter. This year, I'm taking them out. They just kind of freeze up a little bit. They don't get damaged, but I have less of a view having them there. And when I look out these windows, I want to see all of these mountains here. Like over the back here, I have Tangaram and Madarao ski resorts. And it's cool to see that. So I'm going to keep out the fly screens in some of the spots, some of the windows. Another important change that I almost forgot to talk about was protection to these trees. Last year, I didn't put any protection up to the trees and the plants until it was kind of too late into the season. I ended up just wrapping them with ropes and trying to tie them all together and hold them together in kind of a ball shape. But I'm going to walk around right now and just show you what my neighbors do. I'm going to try to imitate my neighbors and follow suit to what the locals do with protecting their trees from this colossal snow that will just compact and break things. And while I'm out in the neighborhood, I'm going to take the opportunity to show you some of the beautiful trees that we have right now in this late fall season that we're going through. Some of the colors of the trees that my neighbors have. It's beautiful, fiery, almost champagne red, pink on these ones. There's beautiful sunlight, the afternoon sun. As I walk towards the south, this is the south direction, and of course where the sun is, that'll be on the southwest, setting in the sky in the afternoon. And those clouds up there will be above Kurohime mountain. And there's a great little ski resort there. It's not the most incredible snow, but sometimes you get lucky. You never know. That's Madarao Tangaram over there. And they're yet to receive any snowfall on the top of the mountain. I've actually just caught one of my neighbors tying back his plants. So he's getting ready for the winter. Konnichiwa. Kawaii desu ne. I just walked by and seen this guy preparing for winter as well. That is going to help to clear this road and save people the energy of having to shovel snow. I'm kind of jealous. These guys running for the train. Hope they can make it. Lots going on in the neighborhood today. It's funny because a lot of people will comment saying that my place is like a ghost town, but I've just made an effort this whole time to give people privacy and avoid putting people's faces on the videos. The last guy who I was just talking to, who's doing the jumbi, the preparations for winter, he just asked me if I'm filming for some reason, and I told him about my channel, and he was really interested and supportive, so he asked for my account details. Cool neighborhood. Meanwhile, I gotta show you the view. That's what I'm walking towards right now, but actually I just walked down the street to come and look at these trees right here. This will be one of the changes that I make this year. I'll be doing something similar to my trees. So you can see how they've just used pretty simple wood and bamboo to give some protection to these trees, support them as they go through the harsh winter here. And they've just simply made, for this one for example, they've just made a simple tripod and tied it at the top to stop that from collapsing in on itself and flattening during the winter. And I've actually just noticed here, I mean, this is something I'm learning too, but I've noticed they've just put their pot plants underneath this tree. Even the bonsai there, see? So interesting. This is something I'm learning about as well. And they have some bird boxes on the top of these trees. And there we have it. These are some of the things that I'm doing for winter this year. That's a little bit different to last year. I'm really looking forward to this new season. We're supposed to have a lot of snow. It'll be interesting to see what I learn this time around as well. It's going to be a continual learning curve for me. And I really lean on my neighbors and walking around and seeing what other people are doing to help me with new ideas and really get through these incredible winters that we have here in Japan. Look at the beautiful mountains. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments. Any feedback, love to hear it. Appreciate everything. And thanks for following. Let's fade out with this beautiful image of Myoko. And I'll see you on the next video.
Happy travels!